I go run errands once I'm done here, so I'll talk to you guys in a little while. But well, we are correcting technology with this YouTube, and so when I can talk, not you have to talk well, but the more I can load in here, the better the technology can be corrected because we're interacting, and I'm the standard of human faithful perfection. And that's not up for debate, and you can't dispute it. You have those political commercials on TV here. I don't see many New Mexican ones. Most of the ones I get are from Texas, you know. But Texas seems to be the epicenter of religious hypocrisy, genocide, dysfunction in the United States. Um, uh, California, New York, it's just genocidal dysfunction, trying to negate any religious hypocrisy to justify genocide through scientific means. Uh, we've been using genocidal hypocrisy through corporations that call themselves religions through mythological and magical thinking for a long time. I mean, that's very evident, and prevalent by what happened with the Jewish people in Europe during World War II. Um, in World War One, it was just more of a tribal status quo thing. Uh, Everybody realized how insane that was, and then made the Germans pay for it. And then, in doing so, through religious hypocrisy, vilified and demonized the Jewish people that were able to survive that economic abuse because they weren't allowed to own land through archaic inventions they call laws. And so, it was all, if you read the book of Daniel and you read Revelation, you see the blood money trail of the hypocrisy and the manipulation of it. Money is merely an instrument and a tool for evil people to manipulate stupid people. Selfishness is the problem. And money, they invented crypto and Bitcoin, and you put numbers on a card to manipulate people with perception of value through conflict, through evil manipulating stupid. And so you don't need to dig up the mountains and have gold to back it up. You don't need pieces of paper printed with slaveholders' faces on it to say, hey, that's more valuable than a child migrating away from economic conflict caused by the CIA. Moon over Parador. I love your mountains and your valleys. And it's pretty sick, and you just got to understand that, you guys. They have a lot of these videos on YouTube, and there's a resurgence, to people to they were covered up and rediscover Nancy Wilson and Ella Fitzgerald, and then people say, "God, this music is so much better, and it's better expressed and better," and that's why people love it. They have these people just there's no studio stuff here. This is all just Tommy Edwards. There's no studio stuff. That's Nancy Wilson. That's Ella Fitzgerald, and you can tell there's a smooth quality and a smooth vibe to the voice, and then you have kids, you can go get them, and they there's kids today that have similar qualities. Okay, they don't always like Nancy Wilson said, they're not always the most physically attractive person. I remember Susan Boyle on that America's Got Talent, and that woman can't sing that good. Why can't she sing that good? What's wrong with her? She has a really nice voice, right? Okay, but she doesn't look like Joe Cocker. Underwear model Joe Cocker there, right? Feeling alright, huh? Not feeling the good myself. But people liked the quality of his voice, the emotion of his voice. He didn't have this. He wasn't necessarily Engelbert Humperdinck or Tom Jones, right? But and that's irrelevant. It's irrelevant, just because people can express symbols through their mouth in a way that makes people paint pictures of sexuality in their head that they perceive as the most, the apex of sexuality and attractiveness. And so, see what I'm saying? And I can only wonder how touching you could make me feel. But if I take that chance right now, tomorrow will you want me still? Because I could, take you in my arms and never let you go. All right. And you get old. And use the money to manipulate. She's having sex with the pool boy. He's having sex with the nanny. Trying to go back to those thrilling days of yesteryear. Right? Trying to reclaim that Corvette lifestyle. Right? Little red Corvette. Baby, you're much too fast, right? And, it's... I'm never gonna tell, I'm never gonna tell, I'm never gonna tell on you. If you don't tell on me, little girl, I'm never gonna... There's so much bliss in a stolen kiss, right? Ring-a-ling-a-lario. Kissed and ran away. Wanting is never more pleasurable than having. Okay. Because the only way to derive pleasure is to have. Okay. Want is a brain chemical addiction that never satisfies itself until you have. And then when you get addicted to the wanting, then it's the eye of the tiger, the thrill of the fight. It's the and then that's what develops. Okay. Brain chemical addiction is you have to work like hell for this. You have to work real hard for it. Okay. When you do things in a healthy manner and you behave in a healthy manner, when you're mature and you realize, I'm much too young to marry, but when I'm ready, I will marry you, right? And when I was younger and never been kissed, started thinking it over, just what I had missed. So I grabbed me a girl and I kissed her. And then, oh, Lordy, will I kissed her again because she had kisses. And now you're a grandfather of 8 because she had kisses sweeter than wine. She had kisses sweeter than wine. Yeah, now that I'm older and ready to go, I say, yeah, it was a long time ago, and because she had kisses sweeter than wine, right? And when the tender boy, gentle girl, gentle boy, tender girl, their love is still... When the conditions are right for eternity in his and her eyes. Okay. Romance isn't a reenactment of stories of the scary ghost stories and tales of the glories of Christmases long, long ago, right? And so there's nothing wrong with going, oh, that doesn't suck. Marie Osmond's just full of shit because she's out on the road and her life is toxic and stressful because she's engaged in economic conflict and she's a circus gimmick for economic conflict. So she takes medications to feel physically better because her life sucks, because she's not living in the Garden of Eden in a world where you get old and you go, that's all right, honey. I've lived a long life. And this happened with Malachi, and this happened with Ruth and Esther, and this happened with Sarah and Khadijah and Muhammad and others, and it'll happen with me too. Okay. Growing old isn't a curse. It's a gift. It gets to see how many generations of love. I hope you will find somebody that makes you feel good about living through loving one another the same way it happened with me and Grandpa, it happened with Mom and Dad, so on, so forth, right? So I said recreate those moments And it's not recreate. I'm sorry. We all have brain damage through this insanity. It's reenact. Okay, reenact the Civil War, reenact the Revolutionary War, reenact the landing on Plymouth Rock, reenact Land of Pocahontas, and we have enough. Okay. Reenactments to last till the end of time. Okay. We have enough people singing songs to pay their families extortion to last till the end of time. Okay. We don't need another Colosseum built. We don't need to fill Wembley for homosexuals to get all excited about Freddie Mercury. Okay. He's rich and famous and successful. So is Elton John. What's your point? Liberace, there you go. Okay, but Liberace wasn't out of the closet. Are you sure about that? I think it was blatantly obvious. Huh? Little Richard, he wasn't gay. Oh, come on now. Yeah, I ain't buying that. You ain't buying that. You got it. No. Okay. Little Richard heterosexual my ass. Okay, so I don't think that man was heterosexual a day in his life. Goodbye, Miss Barley. Sure like the ball. Earl, you funny. I just being silly, y'all. But we can't pass judgment on homosexuality, and most homosexuality, the causality of it is poor heterosexuality. Okay. If you have good heterosexuality, there's a lot less necessity for homosexuality. Homosexuality is typically a result of repugnance from being born. Sometimes I wish Bohemian Rhapsody. Phil and Wembley, you weren't listening? Sometimes I wish I was never born at all. Carry on, but it doesn't really matter. It's a really good tale of a young man explaining the hypocrisy of his tribe and his family to his mother, who he loves because she loves him. It's anybody else like Bohemian Rhapsody? Am I the only one? I'm just kidding around. No, I think when you sit and you listen to it, and this has disturbing points, sure, and sure does a lot of Jim Morrison's tunes. The end, and yeah. And you have this anger because of the hypocrisy. Child of Clay, Jimmy Rogers. And the father thinking work sometimes doesn't go to and he goes and he does all these horrible things. And who is to blame for this child of clay? Okay, so you're talking, that's very similar to Bohemian Rhapsody. It's also very similar to The End. Okay, by The Doors. Okay. And you got to understand, and then, like kids get mad, why did you do this? Like my son, he's mad that I married his mother. So it was a science project. I obeyed the Lord and did what, and then mad that I married a stepmom. Like Jews marry the stepmom because Jesus told me to, because of what the corporations were going to do with your stepmom and her oldest daughter. And when I tried to break away from the marriage and get it to where it was me, you, and Noah, and we, and had the bachelor pad with a woman he told me no, I couldn't. That I had to stay with Amy because of what was happening with Natalie was important to the world, right? And I was like, what? I didn't ask any. I told Brian Manwaring in Sierra Vista, he goes, you only want to know what you need to know. If you know every intimate detail, you'll become insane, like the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, and the people that think they run Japan and China and the Pentagon. Okay. If you know how disgusting your enemy is, and the depths and the depravities that they will go through and what they will do to stay in delusions of human power and authority, okay, you'll become a murdering, killing, raging lunatic, okay? So when Jesus asks you to do something, you don't ask questions. You just do what he asks you to do to put yourself in the right position to survive, stop, eliminate abuse, and recover from the abuse. That's all you're going to do. You trust him. You trust him with every ounce of your being. This is Jesus. He's not going to lie to you. He's not going to ask you to do something that's wrong. It was hard. I'm like, Jesus, I feel like I'm right on the edge. I'm right on the precipice of Jesus. You're not a pervert. They're perverts. You're just trapping them in their perversion. Why do I have to do this? Because there's no other solution. Okay. That's why we have the Epstein files. That's why we have artificial general intelligence. That's why we have quantum computing. Okay. I don't know how quantum computing would be working today if they had accepted what I told them in 2009 in Sierra Vista, or if Obama had come forward in 2013 and said, the guy in New Mexico, he's the real deal. Could he? Yes, he could. Okay. But what? We still have the Epstein files, right? Okay. We now have artificial general intelligence to keep quantum computing under control, so the people that gave us the Epstein files can still have positions of human authority through building robots. Yeah, so I didn't see this coming. No, not at all. Nobody in their right mind see this coming. And then people, I thought you're like, no, I listen to Jesus, okay? Jesus tells me who to talk to and what to do. And the people that give us the Epstein files, they don't talk to Jesus, okay? And everything they do, Jesus doesn't see. Praise the Lord, hallelujah. I didn't know about what happened with Dan Henley, okay? With the little girls with the drugs and the sex. I didn't know about that with the madams, and I had no idea. I can hear it in the music afterwards. And I can hear him, rebuilding his career. And Lindsey Buckingham going, seriously? Him? Instead of me? You think I'm worse than him? Okay. When I listen to Leather and Lace, I'm like, okay, it's okay, Lindsey. You'll get over it. When people have ego problems, they all get hoodwinked real easily. It's not that hard. Well, just ask Jennifer Lopez. Ask LeBron James. I like Bryce a lot. I really like him. Yeah. Anybody else really like Bryce James? Yeah. He's just a sweetheart of a kid. Yeah, he's been very sheltered and protected by his parents, psychologically from horrible stuff, because dad has enough money and is a big enough propaganda piece to, be sheltered by it all too. And there's a few horrible things in the industry and stuff, but they've done a good job of protecting themselves and their kids from it. I like both the kids. I like Bronny and I like Bryce a lot. Yeah, I like them both. I really like both those kids. Oh yeah, they're good kids. They're very sheltered and clueless. Yeah, but not in a bad way, in a good way. Okay, they've been protected from a lot of the abuse of tribalism and poverty and stuff like that, and they have good attitudes towards people that they're living a sheltered life with. They're good kids. I really like Bryce and Bronny James, yeah. Bryce is just he's a sweetheart. I just adore him. He's in U of A, right? Well, Co-op, he looks a lot and reminds me a lot of my oldest son, yeah. So I look at Koa, I get real, He reminds me. Did you have a speech impediment? Did you say lack and Lou when you were little too? Clacklet clips and Kringle bells? No, just kidding around. But no, Koa does remind me a lot of Patrick. Even more so than Matthew and Remy, yeah, because Koa looks a lot like Pat. Yeah, I showed Dad that picture of my wall. He goes, oh my gosh, he does look like Cole Pete looks like him. Yeah, he does. Cole's bigger than he is. Cole's about 6'8", about, 225, well, he's about 235. He's a big kid. Patrick was always leaner and a little shorter. But as he gets older, he's thickens up and stuff a little bit more like Koa. But yeah, they look similar. It's interesting. I'm sure Patrick looks radically different now because he's got long hair and lots of tattoos. Does Koa have lots of tattoos? I haven't paid attention. I don't pay attention much. he's got them. Okay. Thanks, Bryce. Okay. No, I really like Bryce James. Yeah, a lot. Yeah. He's just a good kid. He's just a big sweetheart of his kid. And you get all these people and they try to compare him to his father. And that's one of the nice things about LeBron and his wife is making sure that the kids that they don't feel that they have to step into their father's footsteps and shadow, that they can be themselves and enjoy life being themselves and not have to compare themselves to their father's professional achievements. Yeah, that's really good. They're good kids. Okay, good listeners, especially LeBron's wife, their mommy. Yeah. And so a lot of that, so it's very good listening. When they pray to Jesus, they listen. Okay. Jesus handles most of the stuff about, helping people through hell. I'm busy, Earl ain't got time to talk to most of them because he's busy shutting down hell. So Earl, I'm 1322nd Redeemer there. Yeah. I'm the one that's in the bowels of hell retrieving the keys to the kingdom, Jesus, your Jesus ain't here. You got to deal with me, right? So Jesus deals with people a lot in prayer. So, in different aspects of place and time, he's dealing with people differently. That's why I don't bug him a lot. And that's why he gives me Suzuki and other people. Why are you talking to Suzuki? Well, Suzuki's not real. He ain't God. You ain't talking to him. He's dead. Gabe, stop talking to Daniel. He's dead. Mike, stop it. Mike, do not talk to Daniel. He's dead. You talk to Jesus, Jesus will talk to Daniel. But in the Bible, it says Gabe and Mike are talking to Daniel. Right. But that's not possible. Well, Gabe and Mike are magic people that are attached to Jesus in a magic place in philanthropy people's heads. Want to go visit the Ark in Kentucky? I don't have enough money. Oh, damn, I don't have a Desert Echo. You see what I'm saying? So stop selling stuff for advertisers. Advertisers suck. They do. But the brain Jameses do. Of course, yes, I know the Jameses do. I understand that. Okay. I understand how much money LeBron James makes off of advertising. Okay. I'm well aware of that. He does it to keep himself safe from economic abuse and oppression and keep himself in a little bubble. Yeah. He's like a really big bearded Jennifer Lopez. I'm in the bubble. I'm in the bubble. Like on 30 Rock or not 30 Rock. What was that one? The show with, what was her name? Tina Fey with the, was that 30 Rock? I can't remember. The one with him and Alec Baldwin. Yeah. Amy used to watch all the time. They're in the bubble. The tennis pro that sucked, but all the women kept taking classes from him because he was so gorgeous. Yeah. There you go. They're in the bubble. It's the bubble. They're in the bubble. Right? And so, yeah, you don't get mad. You just realize, okay, there's some Orwellian effects still going on here. And they work at different levels, in different ways, and at different levels. So you just sit there and go, oh, bless their little hearts. Do you see what I'm saying? But they're good kids. You haven't met nicer and more empathetic kids than the Moonies kids. Ella Bella and Nasha Tasha, they're as clueless as the Jenner girls. But they're cute. They don't have to. They're protected by, they go running for the shelter of the mother's little helper, and it's So you got your diamonds and you, but I don't know how the military controls and handles access to all this stuff. That's irrelevant to me. My thing is it's just, yeah, I know it's wrong to acquit the guilty and deny justice to the innocent. The poor plead for mercy, the rich answer for insults, and the wealthy are fools who see their wealth as a high wall, falsely perceive their wealth as a high wall of safety. And me, the fuck for the buck stops here. So I know who I are. Baboons, weasels, baboons, weasels. Everybody, Michael Dorn voice. Okay, I'm a raw. Say your wedding vows in Klingon. Okay. Live long and prosper. Oh no, we're stuck in advertising again. No shit, we're stuck in the Lodi again. Chingo. Yeah, here I go again, oh mother, on my way to play another of those dingy bars you preached to me about. Okay, guys, I love you. I'm gonna get back to work. I'm gonna go over there at Dad's. We're gonna go drop off some things and run some errands. We'll talk later this evening. Hang in there. Don't feel stupid. Realize you are and stop being stupid. Okay. I love you. Okay. Hi, I've got lots of money and I'm evil. Now keep being stupid. I need to be in power. Okay, guys, I love you. Here's a pitch, send a picture and a good old bless in care of this old Music City band. Okay, guys, I love you, all right? Peace.